right.
is made like down the street.
Well.
It's made in
Listen,
Canada.
Coors is a good American corporation.
Yeah.
Probably owned by a German.
We are actually looking
corporation
for
at this point.
sponsors, so I'm glad you're bringing this up. But this
Marlboro. I love to smoke them.
Are you smoking yet?
Yeah. Got a nice Coors.
Different.
We got a Canadian beer here. We got
Red.
The Canadian beer here. We got some
blue,
Labatt
red, blue, yellow.
That's right. We got the
That's
whole,
just we're all in
whole
here.
political and
I wasn't gonna
alcoholic
say anything
spectrum.
else.
Let's crack them open here. This is definitely a twist off.
Oh, shit.
No, it's a pop off.
There we
Cheers,
go.
fellas. Got me. To our next intellectual conversation.
That's right. To our next.
How's that taste?
Bar
It's been in there for a
symposium.
while.
I was eyeing it, looking for an expiration
Some
date.
particulates in there.
You know, let me have another 2 sips.
Let me order
rules.
2 beers. But drinking from a bottle, there is
way,
like.
way more.
I'm
Way
glad
more
you
better.
asked for bottle.
I can't tell if it's just Labatt Blue or if it's way off. No, it's fine. It's fine.
There was a little bit where I had it a little bit not cold enough.
Oh, it's cold enough.
But
It's
like
plenty
the
nice.
last couple months, I
Cold.
went. We're gonna. Yeah. So.
Yep.
That's set. I got our beverage. That original, different. Like I'll bring it up every time. I'm that
Coors
guy.
Banquet?
Yeah. No, this is Coors Original, which has
Not the banquet.
a knockoff, close to inspired recipe that they do in Nova Scotia.
Okay.
It's not compared to Colorado's banquet. They have different tastes. That's more
Interesting,
malt
interesting.
here.
I don't know if I've ever had the original.
I have it right here. I have it in Tall Boy.
Tall boy.
Tall Boy, ready to go. I know this one's for like.
I don't think they're winning any awards, but oh wow,
There's the banquet. Yeah.
that's a big old boy.
You stole that from the Rogers Center, didn't you?
I wish.
$15. Right?
No. I had a buddy went over the States and he got me one, just
Nice.
one. So that was like in the summer.
Very good.
Haven't had a chance to drink it, so I just want to let you know that I hope that they bring back. It's the only reason I'm not a beer drinker. Like Banquet's probably my favorite beer.
Really? Okay. Yeah.
Wow, good to know.
Well,
It's different than original. Look it up. They tried to go close as they could to the, but it's just not the same.
I believe it.
So, anyways, more pressing matters in the nation.
Yeah. This nation.
Our neighbors.
That fine nation. Let's pretend that was
Yeah.
canned in the USA. We've got a lot going on, and we have our own very special American and Canadian person sitting right here at this bar. We got Brian, who is now a Canadian citizen, but
Yes.
of course has family in the United States.
I have to file taxes in 2 places.
Born
now.
in the United States, born in the USA. I think was written about you. The
Yeah, pretty sure the
Bruce
boss and I go back.
Yeah. I thought so. Anyway, Brian, you were saying that you watched the presidential inauguration.
Mm-hmm.
This was about a week ago that this went down. But
Yeah, I saw.
only
like
yesterday you
2
saw
hours
it.
ago.
It takes some time for this stuff to
Oh
travel
my
up
God.
here to Canada
Yeah.
now.
It's just a loading wheel the whole time.
What were your impressions as a new Canadian, but also as a good New England?
Oh boy.
You have some very deep New England roots, some
Sure.
very old bloodline.
Sure, I do. Yeah, a bunch of pilgrims, and I actually have bootlegger blood in me. They, like when they bury whiskey in the beach.
Whiskey in the
We
beach.
actually used to do that on the Irish side.
Nice.
You said put whiskey in the beach.
Yeah, you would bury
You bury it
whiskey
and come
in the
back.
because it would come obviously from the ocean or whatever, and they would bury it, wait till the tide, and then sell it
Ship it on out.
during the Prohibition era.
Do you gain that knowledge when you put that hat on?
I could just feel it.
That is a bootlegging hat too.
It is.
Yeah, it's true.
It is.
You got some whiskey.
You would
in the
shoot me
blood.
with a grease gun with that hat on.
I do feel very Colin
and I would
Farrell
bleed out
from-
in my like 6 inches too high overalls, like go up to my nipples.
dungarees.
Yeah.
See, this is what I mean. I don't wear this hat, and I don't wear this shirt, and it's their fault.
I make fun of Brian
Their
all the
fault.
time.
I don't think you've ever looked better.
I gotta adjust this camera. Whoever made it this far into this video, I'm sorry.
Enjoy the jump cut.
Wait, are we? Yeah, are we just continuing?
I just want to see if it changes.
Okay. Well,
Brian, hit me with it. I do want to know because I saw about 20 minutes of his inauguration speech. It was a lot of the type of stuff that was said in the lead up to the election.
okay.
And a lot of stuff that I thought maybe he might shy away from that he. I don't
Lean
know.
into?
I don't know if there were some moments where the teleprompter went haywire and he had to tap dance. But
you know what's funny
What
is
did you
that the
think?
teleprompter, he definitely was reading up a speech.
Yeah.
As weird as it seems with some of the stuff he was talking about, he intended to mention a lot of that
oh
stuff
yeah.
in quick succession. I did have a thought about 10 minutes in. Spoiler, I didn't watch it live. I skipped ahead a
How
few
dare you.
times because it was like, how many times do you stand up and clap for one thing?
I don't get that. That it was like the
America.
like it was just like, okay, we get it. You're happy. Like doesn't that? Yeah.
And there was one really young, like, oil baron kid that I loved.
Oil
He had like
His name is just Baron.
Yeah, his name is yeah. Yeah, he had like a golden skull, like you know those like Texas tie, the bolo
the
ties?
bolo tie,
He
yeah.
had like probably more than our salary.
Okay. Okay.
On his collarbone, he was like a little cherub of a man. But once they talked about like drill, baby drill, he was just like,
Of course he was. He's like, yeah, this is why I dumped $400 million into your campaign.
I actually laughed out loud when.
yeah. They're all supporters. It sounds like from
Oh yeah.
the
I would assume
clapping.
so.
Well, everyone there was
Yeah.
there because they were in
Yeah,
support.
do you have to
yeah.
pay to get in for any of those guys, or
Oh, they're not invited.
They
They've been
paid.
invited.
They paid in some way. A lot of them donated to the inauguration.
I didn't mean to. What were you saying?
No. I don't know. What I was gonna say.
Yeah. I just I was like I heard that some of the guys in the background dropped like good sums of money just to
Yeah.
be
Oh.
within like
Oh, I
high
can see
five
that for sure.
distance.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely, yeah. The huge inauguration donations and campaign donations. And
That's what I was gonna say. I laughed really hard when Trump mentioned. It was cool in a sense because he's like, "Oh, we're going to Mars,"
Oh yeah, I know.
right?
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
it flashes to Elon going like,
yeah.
like I'm like, come on, like behind Barron, you know, like
I thought we were already supposed to be on Mars.
We're
buddy.
going to Mars. It's like
roughly that direction. Yeah.
Like-
Jesus. Jesus.
What a
Christ.
lovely
I
time.
I am not trying to answer for him. I got my position on Elon Musk. Just to be quick, it's not so much Elon. You could be any insert name, trillionaire, A1
yeah.
insert here. If you're putting any kind of money, doesn't matter what kind of sacrifice. I want humans in the space. That's all I want. It could. I don't care who you are, where you come from, what you stand for. But if you're putting humans into space, there's no one going to do it
You're into
correctly. Everyone's going to die and like suffer before you get some sort of
Yeah.
thing. But like, that's as far as I go with him. But
Yeah, I just
when
don't-
I saw the double salute,
doubled down,
he's
baby.
so
fired it
hard.
off. He
Like,
fired it off.
Like
with-
he showed macaroni and France. He did it was similar, but not as like sharp and hard.
Yeah, no, it was
like
it
it starts and it does the same thing, but his was like
Yeah.
boom.
is a there's two syllables. Sieg and
Yeah, yeah.
and then he turns around and does it again.
oh yeah, no, he
It just
I give him the benefit of the doubt too, because I looked up the Roman salute, and it was like
it was
some
not
guy
a Roman.
being like,
It wasn't a Roman.
like that. I was like, that's not the same at all.
Well,
and-
I think it was like, you know, when rock stars just start going limp and they start like I think half of it. Like I said, I don't want to like talk it for him. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't care about us anyways. Like
He's
it's
certainly not, yeah,
he's so rich, he's untouchable. So he could. But I'm just saying, like, I don't know if. Yeah, I don't.
it's hard to wrap your mind around
Because he's a
something
child,
so
right?
stupid.
Because he's a 14-year-old with all this
he
money.
he definitely has a 14-year-old sense
Right?
of
So
humor.
it's kinda
and
like-
that's probably why he did it. But I mean, we could theorize till the fucking
Cows.
but
yeah,
that's
till the
gonna
cows go to Mars. Yeah. But
that's what's gonna. I don't know, that's what's gonna stick with him. It'll be part of his legacy now.
And I think that might
little
be-
gesture, it doesn't matter. It
my
always
thought
will
is
be.
that maybe that's part of the point, and
Yeah.
I think is because they love to say, and it's sort of a shield for these people to say like, oh, our critics they can only say that we're Nazis. What hyperbole, you know? How could you be so stupid to use that extreme language here? But so you kind of goad people into saying it. Be like, so if you do that, then people are going to call you a Nazi. But if you can just say, I'm not a Nazi, I actually love Israel and stuff like that, then you're using your own language and your own actions as sort of a shield that your supporters can rally behind. But it was the most overtly ridiculous thing I've probably seen in my life. Like I don't know if he's
I didn't even know there was a second part of it. Like I just thought, like
he turned around.
And
though.
then
yeah,
he
he made sure to. He made sure to.
doubles down.
He
The homies in the back had to know.
they had to know. Yeah, it's absolutely unhinged, and there's no other word to describe it other than disgusting. Really, like it's insane. It's not. How are we dealing with this? Right? I mean, this is. At the end of the day, I think the most obvious example, or I mean, explanation, is this is a guy who has the mind of a 14-year-old 4chan.
He does.
Yeah.
But I will say, to be fair, they did attack Macron for that same gesture.
Probably,
They
yeah.
did.
Oh, you
But I'm
don't
just
want to
saying
get close to it.
His was like, I could kind of see where, like I said, it wasn't as sharp and as enthusiastic, but
Yeah.
like
You
he did get attacked too, right? Like,
Anything in
I
that-
think if anybody finds an angle, like of course the left media is gonna like rip that open. The right's gonna be
and
like,
that's probably what he wanted, and that's what people like
Yeah,
Stephen Miller
yeah,
want
right.
when they
Yeah.
put
but why? I don't never understood why. Just
because
you
it,
got enough
it
on your plate. Why bring that attention to yourself?
it's an attempt to discredit your critics.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
and now anyone it dominates the conversation. Everyone says he did a Nazi salute, and he's like, "No, come on, I'm not a Nazi, not me." And now they're not talking about the fact that the richest guy in the world owns one of the biggest social media platforms
Yeah.
and overtly helped a president get elected. Right now, it's just like Elon's a Nazi, and it's like, well, no, and now he can try to discredit that with whatever because.
I'm glad you noticed that because like Trump is similar in that way where I don't know if they all have the same game plan, but they're just like, what if we just do crazy shit and then it'll distract people from the actual terrible things we're doing?
That's exactly right. Yeah.
And so it's just kind of like red herrings all over the place, red Nazi herrings, and you
Red Barons.
Red
stuff.
Barons.
And the
Wrong
14-year-old
war,
guy
but nice.
on the internet is a good example because I think that is part of it. And bored billionaire, I guess, can do whatever he wants.
Yeah. I mean, that's who he is. Yeah. And I think anybody who's listening to this wouldn't know exactly, but none of us are like particularly precious when it comes to Trump. Part of the reason for that is we're in Canada, we're some white dudes that are like very unaffected by him, right? So like we have a natural sort of we're not at greatest risk or anything from Trump's rhetoric or the supporters' enthusiasm for what have you. But so yeah, like we're not. We all think the guy's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Oh my God. You see after the speech, like when he was just off the cuff.
Oh, of course.
The man is charming.
No, he is the TV president in
Oh
a
my
sort
God.
of post-TV age, but like
I'm waiting for it.
we're
Too good to be true.
What?
It's.
Well, you
I
see
think-
the people that he hired? They're
No.
literally TV personalities.
I
That's
know,
right,
but
yeah.
like, so far it's usually it's the old saying: if it's too good, it's too good to
Well,
be true.
that's one thing I
I'm
noticed.
waiting-
A
I'm
lot of
waiting-
those
waiting for
speeches
this.
are like not. He didn't say anything I
doesn't happen all at once.
didn't like, which was scary because he's doing all these like. Someone called it the doctor versus the candy shop owner. Have you heard that before?
No,
Where
but
it's
I can
like
see what
people
you're-
vote for the candy store owner because he's like, I'm going to give you
I'm
all
gonna give
this
you some
shit.
candy.
And everyone's short term like, hell yeah, but the doctor's like, actually,
You
shit
need more
sucks. Like,
exercise,
you need
yeah.
to do shit you don't want to do.
And
long
in this,
term.
I think in this case, the candy is common sense. Like it just
He
there
did.
was-
He did name drop
the-
common sense.
Well, you
That's-
hear it on this side too. It's kind of like it gets.
It's
so
been a
far-
conservative talking point for at least 15 years.
Mhm.
This goes back to Bush.
Well, it's just when you get so far away, like one side's just like, what's happening with everything? Everyone just wants to go back to a sense of normalcy. So then people just say, well, why can't we just go back to something we all thought was in a sense normal? So it doesn't take when you have that reaction from the nation, the way it said, hey, this guy's in now, you guys are out. It's either they do enough and it's back to how it was in 4 years, or the Democrats hurt themselves so bad that they're gonna have to wait 8 years. Now.
Well, you can't really do a lot of. It's a speech to make people excited, right? So you can't. I'm not surprised that he didn't go into the details, but it's probably because he doesn't know any of the details to what he's promising either. He's just saying shit.
To a certain degree, yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. Like when he's doing the Stargate stuff, like they just, or even before he got into power, he was talking about the UAPs, and they're not telling me. They're gonna tell you when it's fine. Like he's just a puppet when it comes to that.
Yeah, and there's also one of their favorite sort of rallying points is the release of like files on JFK and everything.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's gonna say much.
Well, he also so like he that's the thing is like if there was a cover up, why would their files say it? Like why would you write down we're doing this cover up?
And all you're gonna see is
the files are gonna say nothing.
This blank did blank blank.
Yeah.
And also the redacted. Yeah, like so when he like released very little in his first term about this because it was a promise, everything was redacted and already known kind of thing. And yeah, no, it's so much of Trumpism is pointing at something and gesturing at it, and at the end of the day, just doing what Republicans always want to do.
But you have to. I did notice like just change on a national scale, on a worldwide scale, as soon as you came in. Like you got world leaders like talking about the states in a way they haven't been talking for in a while.
Well, for 4 years probably, right? I mean,
because there was going to be consequences to them, even if it positive and negative. They weren't just saying like, "Oh, Trump's in power, we can do all this stuff." It's like there's going to be change in the world now, right? Like it or not, and it's kind of forcing the Europe's hand in a way to respond to America and what they're going to do, right? Like it's such a I think big change compared to what the last administration was.
Yeah, he is like, as much as he's just your average Republican, he is kind of a shock to the system of discourse at the very least, or news coverage, and he's just he's such a fantastic dumbass that he's a wild card. You don't know what he's gonna say or do, and
at least he knew what he was saying or doing. The other guy was.
He's not a.
That guy was.
Trump
dead on arrival.
Trump is breathing.
Yes,
and not a hologram.
So I felt so bad for him. You see him trying to sing during the anthem near the end. Like Biden was just like.
But then again, you have a lot of people who looked at that administration and they're like, "Oh, at the end of it, we were lied to." Like they wanted us to believe that he was okay.
Yeah.
That's where the common sense was, right?
Don't get me wrong.
The emperor's new clothes. Right? Like they were telling you it looked great.
The Democratic Party...
They shot themselves so hard.
They've been shooting themselves...
I don't get that.
Since 2016.
But why isn't there anyone who was enough to be like, can you see what the other guys are doing? Like...
Because nobody... So everyone who is everyone who's part of the Biden and then Harris campaign would have to look in the mirror to realize the faults or to realize the folly that they had come under, but instead they just to keep their own jobs, and because of this is how they think, it's got to be everyone else's fault but theirs. So when you are a loser and you don't think it's your fault, nothing's going to change. You're going to continue to be a loser.
I mean it'll be no different when the current one switches over. I'm sure they'll blame, like it's never.
Oh, of course,
on a political, like it's never.
No, yeah. Politics is blame the other side for what you inherited.
It's almost refreshing now when you see someone going that opposite, right? Because they're like, well, no one ever admits fault. What if I admit fault for once? They'll trust me, right? Like it's you know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of one of those things where it's status quo to, I didn't account for this and that and whatever, and then it's just.
Has someone done that? Or are you saying you would like it?
No, I just think when you're doing this, when you have both political parties just going blaming each other, and it's like when you see someone who does something where it's like, yeah, we did screw up, but
where you might see
accountable, being more accountable. Like I just don't see with any of the parties. They always blame each other.
Where you might see that is with the Liberal Party of Canada leadership.
now.
debates. Yeah.
Now it is. It's,
Yeah,
it's too late though.
You've got Chrystia Freeland
Too late.
who kind of she won't be able to play that card because she was so much a part of the Trudeau government.
I don't get that
So-
either. I don't.
But I think you'll see other candidates.
What's your take on that whole thing? Because I'm kind of behind. I heard Trump was talking about Trudeau as the governor, and then he just made up stories about him, saying like, I asked him why I owe him money, and he says I don't know. And I'm like, what do you mean? He didn't say none of this.
It's such a troll job
about the
Yeah.
guy.
It is funny to see that, to kind of politicians having fun with each other, but like that's as far as it goes. Like,
He got a lot of. I mean, I've seen a lot of bumper stickers for the last, basically his whole time in office. Just ET.
yeah.
So
Good luck, Trudeau.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no, it's
just stayed too
definitely
long?
high time that he stepped down. The party had absolutely no chance going forward with him. And we'll see. I mean,
There was like a couple days there where people are just holding their breath. It wasn't that long ago.
But he's not technically
like,
like
if he
not
was
even
gonna step down or
gone.
not,
yeah,
yeah,
like,
he's
been
like
quiet.
he's still in there, and then
well, he's stepping
see
down
when
as
I
the
believe
leader, not as the prime
Yeah.
minister, right? They're going to be holding
Yeah.
leadership.
that was another emperor's new clothes. It's like it's time for a change.
his tight blue sweater.
Oh, yeah, it's I think everyone has their expiration date, and you have to
absolutely.
know when to
He
change.
was like what 10 plus.
I just don't
Or 10
know
on the
how
nose?
behind closed doors who's making those, like who believed in him over the other or change. Or
Well,
like,
he was.
like,
I won't say he was a brilliant politician, but he was certainly a brilliant campaigner. Trudeau was. I mean, just to win 3 elections is something, and also to weather the absolute nightmarish.
Yeah, he went through some shit. Yeah,
Like the
he also
the
created
photo.
nightmare. He also created
The
nightmare.
photo drops. The photo
Yeah.
drops that his campaign weathered.
Yeah.
That's that's people will write books
That's
about
fair.
it. No, he was a huge
Yeah.
political force.
I just
At
don't,
least when it came to winning elections.
whatever. It's going to be over. Unfortunately for us, probably gonna look like October for an election.
Really?
Yeah, well, and we'll
I
have
thought it
an
was summertime.
We'll have an Ontario one even sooner.
But
That one's not even really a contest, so it doesn't matter. No,
like,
I
Holman looks like a psychopath, man. Like this
Who?
guy Holman, who does the czar, the
oh,
new.
yeah.
Like if anybody is closer to a political figure, like that's the guy who puts the blanket over your face and dumps water. You know, like
Yeah.
like it's just.
Yeah, no, they're. I think
where's the moral, right?
my-
Like
yes, my fear is that there is just too much
power, right?
too
now?
much space for cruelty. There's too much.
There is.
We've been so
But then, sorry, I don't mean to-
depressed
Yeah.
as an economy, as a society, as a people who haven't been who have been promised a lot that hasn't been delivered, and I think it's just turning. It's very clearly turning against the other.
Yeah.
And it's happening
common.
it's happening in Canada too.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that certain things wouldn't deliver some benefits, but certain policy reversals or something wouldn't deliver benefits, but they would be short term because they're not dealing with the actual heart of the issue.
Which is the Gulf of America.
Which is that it's not called the Gulf of America.
Officially, they recognize it as that now, but the whole world's like, sure, South China Sea. Like,
Yeah.
It's so funny. I mean, I don't want to blame it all on some specter that is. They're hashtag killing it. As much as like I was shitting on the author that has a book literally called like I Will Kill for America or whatever. It's called. American Crusade is the actual name.
That's so lame.
And it's him with like a arm
But also
tattoo and, like,
kinda-
a giant flag in the back. You know, it's exactly what you'd see at like the airport.
anytime you have crusades,
Kiosk.
you know, it's like
Yeah, you know you're in a good place.
Oh, that's
I
a good,
don't
that's
know.
a good spot.
Only if they have swords
I
No.
think
and banners.
one thing that I do like is that it is scary, and it's not just
Sure.
like isolated individuals thinking that. I think in some ways, like when you were snapping earlier, it is a bit of a wake up, which is nice. For
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
I could give a shit most of the time because I'm so like
Yeah.
I have a thing in my face and I'm just watching, someone's butt most of the time, but it could be nature videos or something.
Mm-hmm.
But this almost
butt.
scares me into
Tits on
giving a
trees.
crap and then
Tree butts.
Tree
doing community. I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of my issues are just this. Like I want to hang out with you guys and build real relationships with humans that I can touch, and working on local shit. Like as much as if the policy changes is a thing, I do think that some of it is on personal accountability and pushing back if anything crazy like brutal does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Am I going to care enough? Because I've always kind of had that trepidation where I'm like, I don't know if I would care, like the apathy side of things where you've met people that like go out and picket and like do stuff for people and it has nothing to do with them. I'm like, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you care about someone?
Where do you find the time?
How do you care?
Where do you,
yeah.
like, don't you have to paint your warhammers? Like,
Yeah, well,
And I
know
think-
people in their own business. Yeah,
And I think that earnestness for
yeah,
supporting a cause is often ridiculed and seen as cringe and all that. But I think that's my
hope it
hope too.
changes.
Is that,
Yeah.
and obviously I think I had this hope in 2016 too. Like I hoped that the Democratic Party would get their shit in order, and it didn't happen. And now
I also think
now
they
I
got a
don't know
wake-up
if it
call.
will.
I think they got a wake up call. Like, I think when they come back, they're gonna like. I think they're changing the guard, right?
I believe when I
Like,
see it.
But I
Oh, the swamp situation.
I don't know
Or-
what they're doing, but I know that they're not going to make the same mistakes as this time.
I hope
No,
not.
they-
But
they
my
won't.
point earlier was
They won't.
for them to not make
they
the
care
mistakes,
enough,
for them to not make those mistakes, the people in charge would have to
own up.
fire themselves. Yeah, and I don't know that that's going to happen. But we'll see. We'll see. We got our own country to worry about too.
Exactly.
Here, just quickly,
Mhm.
we got Trudeau stepping down. We're gonna have a leadership race for the Liberals.
Mhm.
We're gonna have an election. We're gonna have our own little
NDP
scene
versus
play out.
Is it cut and dry
conservatives.
already though? Because I hear a lot of people are they're
looking
going
for
for it, but they're not really a problem.
People don't want to vote for the Liberals, so they put their vote for the NDP. So it's,
I'll believe that when I see it too. I think the Conservatives are certainly polling for a majority right
like
now
it would.
Really? Okay.
I don't.
because people at the end of the day think in Canada that there's only two viable parties.
Yeah. Well, it might just be the way that the brain works. That's why I was harping back to the us versus them. It just seems like we're kind of binary in that way, unfortunately. Where
Yeah.
any expert in any field, everything's complicated and gray. But
Well, the states will like get out there and talk about supporting a cause. No matter what the cause is, they'll get out in the streets and do something. That's like we tried that once here in
Yeah.
Canada, and everyone became terrorists. So it's like,
well,
well, I'm just saying, like,
terrorists?
you know what I'm saying? Like, people were fed up about something. Doesn't whatever your opinion is, and they try to do a display
yeah,
that happens probably once every 3 years in the states.
yeah.
And it was
Well,
quite the hoopla, right? Like, it
they
doesn't
were-
matter, like regardless, right?
They were
Like,
there for like two weeks.
Sure, but when was the last time they were there for 2 weeks before that, and before that,
In
and before
Canada?
that? Right? It doesn't happen a lot, right? So,
Well, the students protesting on campuses, they didn't even get to last a week. So
yeah.
but
Well, that's
whoever wins the Canadian election, we've got our own country dealing with our own stuff.
we got a lot of stuff to sell in Canada, by the way.
to
Trees.
sell. Labatt Blue,
Labatt Blue,
trees
oil,
with boobs on them.
oil,
That's all I
lots
remember
of like.
Yeah.
Honestly, plant an entire forest of tree tits, please.
Yeah,
Like,
solve so many different problems at once with that. Yeah.
it'd be like I can't even make that.
What would you do? What would you do if you were prime minister?
Ooh, if I was prime minister,
Yeah.
I would criminalize marijuana.
Yes, recriminalize.
It was
marijuana.
so much
Thank God.
cooler.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was
Yeah,
so much
yeah.
cooler.
Yo, getting high was sick when I was 17.
I will say there
Let's go back
is.
to that.
I'm seeing a lot of research. People are trying to pay you money to come in and see the effects of what 10 years of legalized pot does. to
Oh, okay,
them. So,
yeah.
Mhm.
Like I'm not even like what.
You would be a good
What-
candidate for that, for sure.
What, what are you talking about? But it's one of the, like I'm a later in life guy. I was never like
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I
Still been 10 years though, probably.
probably.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna quit
Okay.
again.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I don't know if I don't think it's done anything better, but criminalize it, but make like you pay large when you get caught with it. You don't go to jail.
No prison time.
No prison time, but you pay a large fine. Like fine that could, you might as well be in prison.
Now you're not buying weed anymore. You've got no more money left for
Right. So
for ounces.
yeah, and that I'd make sure that I like the thought of ethically selling our oil. So they use that word ethically, so that means if Alberta says ethically, I don't know what the rest of the when you're drawing from the earth, it's not supposed to happen at all, right? I don't think
Yep.
right. So, but we're in it. Look at where we are now. So
Yeah, to me,
I'd like to see that change.
I'm not like the biggest environment.
What would you do?
But for me, ethically means the profits from its sale are shared by the workers and the people.
Sure.
I'm talking about nationalized oil.
Mhm.
That's what I would.
I like that.
That's what I would do.
I'd vote for you.
Let's go. Let's go to the polls.
Mhm.
Yeah.
My
What would you
uncle was
do?
an oil man. Did you know that?
No.
Not an oil baron, but he came up here to, like where they hire
Work
you
on
for
the
like a
rigs?
season? Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just almost die every day. Like, you get addicted to meth and stuff. Edmonton,
Sounds like-
speaking
yeah,
of
that sounds
Edmonton
about
and meth, it was actually real, like, there was a guy doing kung fu in the street when I went up there. It was mid-December. And a guy was just punching
shirt.
the air, and like he was hitting some lady's car door,
Oh, boy.
like that was open.
Was
and she
it
was, like,
that
shielding
that
her
level of
young
Street
child.
Fighter where they're like just beating up
Yeah,
the car?
like he was. Yeah,
was all
exactly.
2D.
He was Hadouken and all that. Yeah, it was rad. And also, grunge is back. Sorry, I don't mean to.
No, that's fine.
If I
I'm
was
okay
the
with
if I was the
grunge.
prime minister, I would
You would bring back.
I would legalize grunge. Dude, the amount of like long like trench coat. Oh my god, it's so rad. People there are really nice, and the sky is so big. That's one thing to go.
It's God's country out there.
It is God. Yeah, there's like cows and like just.
You're allowed to say it out there.
Oh, okay, right.
It's like your coaster.
Out
There's
there.
just like the sky is big. Where I'm at right now, I don't even see the sun most of the time, let alone clouds.
So there's no hills and stuff.
There's no landscape where I'm
Yeah,
at.
so
So
it's
like
just flat. Yeah. So your dog.
I
away for 3
actually
days,
when I left, the beauty of travel is like you realize, oh, oxygen is real and it's supposed to smell not like feces.
Yeah.
And like I went over to Alberta to visit my family out west, and it was awesome. And the mountains are majestic. So
I suck
if
at traveling.
I would rather conserve. I think that's the strength that Canada has is the fact that you haven't graped the natural resources
Yeah, of course.
yet.
Yeah.
But please let us as Americans do that for you so that we can be the superpower together rather than Russia, China, because I live here. So I would like that more than because they don't give a shit over there. So we have to.
I
not
used
give
to
a shit,
maybe-
basically.
Maybe in my youth, I used to kind of feel how things were kind of go towards and just kind of accept it.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know where we're headed.
Mars.
No, I don't know. I don't.
There's no chance we're getting to Mars with Elon Musk at the fucking helm.
Guy, you remember years ago he wanted to
Have you-
nuke Mars to speed up the
What's
rate
with
of-
all these
yeah,
like? You ever get tricked by these like underground? Like they're scanning the moon and there's like a moon base underground. It's just.
I
like,
just-
a hole.
I
It's
just
like a
started
cave.
following a guy on YouTube called Alien Hunter.
My man.
And he releases 3-hour videos, and it's like the titles are like 000433321, and that's lovely.
Yeah, love
Lovely.
that. Yeah.
And it's 3 hours of like ambient like drone
just in his
music,
pocket?
but like it's close-ups of like all these alien photos. It's quite something.
Yeah, you know what? Let's stop talking about politics.
Yeah,
Let's talk
fuck
about
politics.
aliens.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Let's close it down. Although I will say, I think that most people agree on what a lot of the problems are. We definitely don't agree on how to solve them, but
Yeah.
for me anyway, ever since I've been on Red Note, no.
I'm not the problem.
Yeah, exactly. No,
Someone else
to me, there seems like a pretty clear path for some of these things.
Yeah.
but we'll see how it goes.
I think there's a lot of head rearing in the future. I think the true face of things are going to show up.
Yeah, and
a lot of this is just like prepping you.
And I think the true face of a lot of these things is cruelty.
Well, that was the
And I
quote.
think-
That was the quote about democracy. Was that they were like, democracy ain't real. I don't think it was Bob Dylan, but it was someone like that who was just like, it's just violence out here, boys. Like the whole like
It's
facade
doggy
of
dog.
like,
Yeah,
it's doggy dog, and you hopefully you're on the side.
but like, can I just like do things in my own little room, like
No.
not feel like I'm being watched?
I've
constantly?
seen the future,
Listen.
brother. It is murder.
Is that Bob Dylan?
Nope, that is Canada's own Leonard Cohen.
Hey, Leonard. Yeah, Leonard knows some shit.
I tried
too.
to watch There Will
He's
Be
an
Blood yesterday, and I
Okay.
was chastised for it.
And you're like, I want a
Why?
milkshake.
Yeah.
I got yelled at because nothing happens except for a bowling pin and a milkshake, and I abandoned my boy. That's what I was told. I'm like, all right, I guess we're not
You
watching that.
pretty much please everybody. We were talking to your
We ended up
familia about
watching. Was it Stargate? Like, have you seen that
Yeah.
one with Kurt Russell?
that. Mm.
No.
Mm,
Wow.
I should, because Kurt Russell's awesome.
Well, we just started watching Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Yeah, David Lynch, man.
Oh, I was talking about.
Have you ever had tried
Laura Palmer.
Transcendental what?
Spoiler, episode 1.
Tits? Oh, yeah. Like, yeah, my friend was like, it's that show you were raving about. It's about tits. I'm like, what show are you talking about?
That's every show I
mean,
talk about.
yeah.
there is a
that's-
restaurant chain in the
Oh,
States called
yeah,
Twin Peaks.
there
And it's
is.
about
There
it's
is.
about exploiting women
Right.
in
Understood.
Hooters style. Remember Hooters?
Of course.
Oh, when we were in Nation.
Great
I've been to
food.
one
Great
Hooters
food.
in my entire life, and it was in the States. It was in.
Like how many years ago? We talking about when, like when it
Probably
was a
2008,
OG. Okay, so
2008.
it was still. Was Hooters still Hooters in 2008?
barely,
Yeah, well,
barely.
Right.
Mm,
I remember going
okay,
as a
mine
kid.
was more like 2000, earlier in the 2000 range when I went, and it was like the guy that brought me was like the classic. He reads Maxim, like unironically reads Maxim.
Yeah. Oh,
And-
bring back that guy.
Yeah.
Actually.
Yeah. Well, also David Lynch, rest in peace to that guy, because they live fast and hard. Those types. Like he was like baseball glove skin. You know what I mean?
Who was?
Yeah.
Smoking,
David
and
Lynch?
being in the sun.
No,
Oh,
this
this guy.
guy,
my
okay.
boy, my Hooters
David Lynch
boy.
smoked
The
a
guy
lot.
with the Hooters
And he
punch
had, like-
card in his wallet.
Exactly.
Hooters punch
Oh,
card.
They're
just a pair of
salt of the
tits.
earth. Oh my god. How did we get to that?
I don't know.
I don't
I
remember,
just
but
love that guy.
we used to be a country. I think that's
Yeah.
vaguely how we got.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think that's.
Twin Peaks, tits.
I think
politics.
we probably.
Boy, if you made it this far,
Yeah, I
I don't
think
know
we've
if I could
probably
give you a
gone too
digital
far.
medal, you deserve it.
That's right.
If you did get to this far, you deserve to comment in our video.
Yeah.
So-
please.
Yeah, you get the award to tell me why I'm wrong or he's wrong or why Brian shouldn't wear green.
Did it
on
come
a
across that I
black
want
background.
Canada to get taken over?
No.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Oh. Yeah. Okay.
For that
That's good.
Northeast
That's good.
Passage,
Well,
whatever it's
thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you stick around for a future conversation about Brian's.
Join our Labatt Blue Rewards program.
Oh my god. So my brother and I were high and we were watching Predator,
Hell yeah, it's a good movie.
and
Predator?
it was like the Predator number 12 that no one knows about, with like terrible dialogue.
Alien vs Predator 2.
It was worse than it was like it was
Predators?
it was a guy who wears the Predator's
Predators is
armor. And he goes invisible.
That's the one directed by Shane Black from
Yeah.
the original Predator. It's so bad.
It's
Never
really
heard of it.
bad.
And at the very end, he's like, "Did it come in black?"
Oh my, yeah, exactly. It's real not good.
Yeah,
Like,
because it was like, "Oh, dude, like it's the radio guy from the original Predator. It's got to be good."
and the reason I thought of it was because you were talking about Twin Peaks and how that's a acquired taste, right?
Yeah.
We watched that, and my brother, I was jokingly saying like that was actually pretty good, like just to be like, I can't believe we wasted 2.5 hours. he was like,